Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're going on a pretty fascinating journey, I think, into the world of human technology interaction. You've all sent us some really thought-provoking readings, and we're excited to kind of unpack what stands out and what it all means, for all of you.
Yeah, you've definitely picked some really intriguing sources that I think really get at the heart of how technology is reshaping what it means to be human,
Mhm.
pushing us past our, perceived biological limits.
Absolutely. We're diving into excerpts from a discourse on secular humanist utilitarianism. Quite a title, right?
Mm.
And it tackles everything from philosophy and economics to neuroscience, showing how technology weaves its way into all these systems.
Yeah, this source doesn't shy away from big questions,
Yeah.
It challenges the very definition of human, arguing that the traditional biological view is kind of becoming obsolete.
Okay, now that's a bold statement. So let's unpack this a little. Let's unpack this unbounded system idea. What exactly does that look like, in the real world?
Well, the book uses the example of Stephen Hawking, right,
Mhm.
whose ability to communicate and contribute to science, despite his physical limitations, was only possible because of technology. And so it argues that we are all becoming integrated with technology, creating a system that extends beyond our physical bodies.
I see what you mean. It's like we're already augmenting ourselves and the lines are blurring. But to really grasp how we got here, we need to look back at the evolution of human systems, right?
Exactly. And the source kind of lays out this historical context, beautifully tracing how human systems have evolved from basic language to the complex research networks we have today.
And there's a table in the source material that really brings this to life, showing the progression from simple language systems to these intricate interdisciplinary research networks.
Yeah, and that table highlights, I think, a crucial point, that language isn't just about communication, right? It's the foundation of technological advancement. The ability to express complex scientific concepts through language is what drives innovation.
So it's like language is the code that unlocks our understanding of the world, which then gets translated into technology.
Precisely. The source emphasizes how cultural language structures, combined with mathematical models, form the basis of scientific understanding, which in turn fuels technological advancement.
That's fascinating. It makes you appreciate the power of language in a whole new way. But this brings up another point. The source material dives into how technology is already impacting key human systems, like right now, not just in some distant future.
Absolutely. And it highlights four key systems. So cultural language systems, which we just discussed, um, economic systems, political systems, and educational systems. And each one is being transformed by technology in unique ways.
Let's start with economics. I was particularly struck by the concept of information asymmetry. The source seems to suggest it's playing a huge role in the modern economy.
Yeah, information asymmetry essentially means that some people have more information than others, and they can use this to their advantage. Think about how companies collect data on your spending habits,
Yeah.
your online activity, even your physical location.
It feels a little unsettling, like the more data they have, the more they can kind of predict and potentially manipulate our choices as consumers.
That's a valid concern. And the source material ties this back to the core principles of capitalism, arguing that innovation, which is often fueled by information asymmetry, is a key driver of economic growth.
So while information asymmetry might feel unfair on an individual level, it's actually a key part of the system that drives innovation and progress.
That's the complex reality the source presents. It raises a lot of questions about how we can ensure fairness and ethical practices in an economic system that is increasingly reliant on information.
Now, what about the impact of technology on political systems? The source suggests technology is causing some tension there.
Well, think about it. Technology empowers individuals by giving them access to information and connecting them with like-minded people. And this can challenge traditional power structures and create political friction.
We see this playing out in real time, right? With social movements organizing online and challenging, established institutions.
Exactly. The source argues that technology is forcing political systems to adapt to a more decentralized, technologically driven landscape. And this is creating new opportunities for civic engagement, but also new challenges for governance.
And then there's education. I can only imagine how technology is revolutionizing the way we learn.
Educational systems are under immense pressure to keep pace with technology. Students need to learn not just how to use new tools, but how to think critically about information and adapt to constantly evolving technological landscapes.
Yeah, it's a far cry from the days of, memorizing facts from textbooks.
Right. The source argues that education needs to shift from rote learning to cultivating skills, like critical thinking, problem-solving, adaptability. It's about preparing students to be lifelong learners in a world where technology is constantly changing the game.
It makes you wonder, are our current educational systems really equipped to meet these demands?
That's one of the key questions the source raises. It calls for a reevaluation of how we approach education in the digital age, with a focus on fostering the skills and mindsets needed to thrive in a technologically driven world.
This all ties back to that concept of information asymmetry. We've talked about it in economics, but it seems like it impacts every aspect of our lives. The source material breaks down information asymmetry into two types. Can you kind of elaborate on those?
They describe specific information asymmetry as the limitations of our own perception. We only take in a fraction of the information available in the environment, which means our understanding is always incomplete.
So it's like we each have a unique lens that shapes how we see the world, and that lens is limited by what we've been exposed to and how we process information.
Precisely. And because of this, we might form beliefs based on incomplete data, potentially leading to misunderstandings or conflict.
That makes sense. And what about the second type?
The source calls it general information asymmetry, and it refers to the differences in understanding and access to information between individuals and groups. And this can lead to disparities in power, opportunity, and even basic understanding of the world.
This makes me think of the digital divide, where some communities lack access to technology and the information it provides.
That's a perfect example, and the source argues that these information gaps can create tension and conflict, especially as technology becomes even more integral to every aspect of our lives.
Now, amidst all this talk about technology and information, the source introduces the bounded state theory of consciousness. Can you explain what that is and how it relates to everything we've been discussing?
This theory attempts to explain how human consciousness operates within the context of these limitations we've been exploring.
So it's not just about technology, it's about how our minds themselves process information.
Exactly. The source explains that our perception of the environment, which they call extrospection, is shaped by selective attention and filters influenced by our past experiences.
So we're not just passively absorbing information, we're actively interpreting it based on our own personal history and biases.
Precisely. And the source also talks about introspection, which is our internal self-awareness. They argue that even introspection is limited by the structure of our nervous system and influenced by unconscious biases.
It's like even our understanding of ourselves is filtered and potentially incomplete.
Right. And to illustrate this, the source uses an analogy from quantum mechanics, suggesting that the state of consciousness, like the state of a particle, can only be described probabilistically.
Okay, that's a pretty mind-bending concept. So if our understanding of both the outside world and ourselves is inherently limited, how do we navigate a world increasingly shaped by technology and information overload? That's where secular humanist utilitarianism, or SHU, comes in, right?
Yes, the source presents SHU as a philosophy for the technological age. It emphasizes human autonomy, believing that technology should serve human needs and help us maximize individual happiness.
So it's not about rejecting technology, but about using it intentionally to improve our lives and create a better future.
Exactly. And what's interesting is that the source goes beyond just philosophy. It offers practical tools and techniques for applying SHU principles in our daily lives.
Now that's what I'm talking about. Give me the practical stuff. What kind of tools are we talking about?
One key concept is the creation of personal T algorithms. T stands for Technology, Extrospection, Introspection, Ethics. It's essentially a framework for making more conscious and informed decisions in a technologically driven world.
Okay, break that down for me. How would someone actually use a T algorithm in their life?
Let's say you're considering buying a new gadget. A T approach would involve examining your motivations, introspection, researching the product and its potential impact, extrospection, considering the ethical implications of its production and use, and then determining if it truly aligns with your values and goals.
So it's like a mindfulness practice applied to our technology choices. It's about being intentional and asking ourselves, does this technology serve me or am I serving it?
That's a great way to put it. The T algorithm encourages us to take a more conscious and holistic approach to our technology interactions. And it's not just about gadgets. It applies to everything from social media use to how we engage with information online.
Now, the source also mentions another practical tool, the emotional value priority matrix. What's that all about?
It's a tool for clarifying your values and priorities. It involves identifying the things that are most important to you and then ranking them in order of importance.
So it's like a personal compass that helps you navigate decisions and stay true to yourself in a world that's constantly vying for your attention.
Exactly. The emotional value priority matrix helps you identify what truly matters to you and make choices that align with those values, even when faced with a barrage of external pressures and distractions.
This all feels incredibly relevant to our discussion about information asymmetry. If our perception is inherently limited and our understanding of the world is always evolving, having these tools to guide our choices seems essential.
Absolutely. The source argues that SHU provides a framework for lessening information asymmetry and increasing human autonomy, even in a world where technology is constantly changing the game.
And how exactly does SHU propose we do that?
The source outlines three methods for lessening information asymmetry and empowering individuals. First, they discuss mathematical truth assimilation.
Okay, what does that mean? Does it involve complex equations?
Not necessarily. It's about grounding our understanding of the world in evidence logic and scientific principles, rather than relying solely on cultural beliefs or personal biases.
So it's about seeking objective truth, but how do we do that in a world where information is often subjective or even deliberately manipulated?
That's where critical thinking and media literacy come in. The source emphasizes the importance of questioning sources, evaluating evidence, and being discerning consumers of information.
It's like developing our own personal BS detectors to filter through the noise and get to the truth.
Exactly. And that ties directly into the second method for lessening information asymmetry, human-technology interaction.
This sounds like it's about using technology to our advantage.
Precisely. Think of it as using technology to augment our abilities, to expand our access to information, and connect with diverse perspectives. We're talking about everything from using online research tools to engaging in constructive dialogue on social media.
So technology can be a tool for empowerment, but it's up to us to use it wisely. What about the third method?
Now, this is where things get really interesting. The source calls it human-technology integration, and it's the most radical of the three. It involves physically integrating technology into our bodies to further blur the lines between human and machine.
Whoa, we're talking about implants, brain-computer interfaces, that sort of thing.
Exactly. The source explores the potential of these technologies to dramatically enhance our capabilities and even potentially overcome information asymmetry in a truly profound way.
But this raises a whole host of ethical and philosophical questions, doesn't it? What does it even mean to be human if we're merging with technology in such a fundamental way?
Those are precisely the questions the source encourages us to grapple with. It's not about offering easy answers, but about prompting us to think deeply about the implications of these advancements and to consider what kind of future we want to create.
Now, to address the challenges of communication and understanding in a world where everyone has different experiences and perspectives, the source introduces multi-perspective logic, or MSL. What's that all about?
MSL is presented as a new language system designed to bridge the gaps in understanding between individuals with different backgrounds and viewpoints. It aims to create a more objective and universal language that minimizes miscommunication and fosters cooperation.
So it's like a linguistic tool for building bridges and finding common ground in a world that can feel increasingly divided.
Exactly. The source argues that MSL could be a key to unlocking greater understanding and collaboration in a world where effective communication is more crucial than ever.
This deep dive is already blowing my mind, and we've only just scratched the surface. What else does the source have in store for us?
Well, we've been talking about how technology can empower us, but this source doesn't shy away from the potential pitfalls either. One of the big concerns that it raises is the potential for technology to amplify existing social and economic disparities.
Yeah, that makes sense. We already see this happening, right, with the digital divide. But how could advancements like AI and human technology integration, exacerbate these issues further?
Well, imagine a world where access to advanced cognitive enhancements or life-extending technologies is limited to the wealthy, right? It could create a whole new level of inequality with a technologically enhanced elite further distancing themselves from the rest of society.
It's like a sci-fi dystopia come to life. But even without going to those extremes, we already see algorithms being used in ways that perpetuate bias, like in hiring practices or loan applications.
Exactly. And the source stresses the importance of being aware of these potential pitfalls and actively working to mitigate them. It's about ensuring that technology is used to create a more equitable and just society, not to exacerbate existing divisions.
So it's not just about technological advancement, but about ethical and social considerations going hand in hand.
Precisely. And that brings us to another danger highlighted in the source: the spread of misinformation and propaganda in the digital age. With information traveling at lightning speed, it's becoming increasingly difficult to separate fact from fiction.
It's like we're drowning in information but starving for truth. How can we possibly keep up?
The source emphasizes the importance of developing strong critical thinking skills and media literacy. It's about learning to question sources, evaluate evidence, and recognize the tactics used to manipulate or mislead.
It sounds like we need to become digital detectives, always on the lookout for clues that reveal the truth. But even with those skills, it feels like a David versus Goliath battle against the sheer volume of misinformation out there.
You're right, it's a huge challenge. And the source argues that it's not just an individual responsibility. We need collective action to address this issue, including holding tech companies accountable for the content spread on their platforms and promoting media literacy education in schools and communities.
So it's about individual empowerment through critical thinking, but also systemic changes to address the root causes of the problem.
Exactly. And this ties into a broader point the source makes about human autonomy in the age of technology.
Now, this is a tricky one. On the one hand, technology can give us more freedom and control over our lives. But on the other hand, it feels like we're becoming more dependent on it, almost like we're losing control.
It's a paradox, isn't it? The source explores both sides of this equation. It highlights how technology can empower us with knowledge, connect us with others, and even help us transcend physical limitations.
Like with assistive technologies that enable people with disabilities to live more independently, or the potential for brain-computer interfaces to restore lost function.
Those are powerful examples of how technology can expand human autonomy in meaningful ways. But the source also cautions against the potential for technology to become too controlling or even manipulative.
Yeah, we've all felt that pull, right? The constant notifications, the fear of missing out, the feeling that we need to be connected all the time. It's like technology is hijacking our attention and dictating our behavior.
Exactly. And the source warns against surveillance technologies that erode our privacy, persuasive algorithms designed to influence our choices, and the potential for AI systems to make decisions that impact our lives without our consent.
It's a sobering reminder that we need to be vigilant about protecting our autonomy in a world where technology is becoming increasingly integrated into our lives.
And the source offers some concrete strategies for doing just that. It emphasizes the importance of maintaining control over our data, understanding how algorithms work, and demanding ethical guidelines for AI development.
It's about being informed and empowered users of technology, not passive consumers who blindly accept whatever is offered to us.
Precisely. And this brings up another interesting point the source makes about how technology can impact our perception of time.
Okay, I'm intrigued. How does technology mess with our sense of time?
The source argues that the constant connectivity and rapid pace of technological advancement can create a feeling of acceleration, leading to a diminished ability to savor the present moment.
Oh, I definitely feel that. It's like we're always rushing to the next thing, constantly bombarded with information and updates. There's no time to breathe, to reflect, to just be.
Exactly. And this can lead to a sense of anxiety, stress, and even a feeling of disconnect from ourselves and the world around us. The source encourages us to be more mindful of our relationship with time, to set boundaries with technology, and to make space for experiences that foster presence and connection.
So it's not about rejecting technology altogether, but about finding a healthy balance. It's about using technology intentionally to support our well-being, not to detract from it.
Precisely. And that leads us to another thought-provoking idea from the source: the potential for technology to blur the lines between reality and virtuality.
Now, this is where things start to get really mind-bending.
As virtual reality and augmented reality technologies become more sophisticated, we'll increasingly encounter simulations that feel indistinguishable from the physical world. Imagine stepping into a virtual environment that's so immersive, it's hard to tell where the real world ends and the virtual one begins.
It's like that feeling you get when you're so engrossed in a movie or a video game that you forget where you are for a moment. But now imagine that on a whole other level where the lines become increasingly blurred.
The source challenges us to grapple with the implications of this, asking questions about the nature of reality, the meaning of human experience, and how we define ourselves in a world where the physical and digital are constantly intertwining.
It's like technology is forcing us to re-examine some of our most fundamental assumptions about who we are and what it means to exist in the world.
That's a great way to put it. And the source encourages us to approach these questions with both curiosity and caution, recognizing the transformative potential of technology while remaining mindful of its ethical and philosophical implications.
Now, amidst all these potential challenges, the source also offers some potential solutions, right? It seems like education is a key focus.
Absolutely. The source argues that we need to radically rethink our approach to education to prepare future generations for a world increasingly shaped by technology.
So what would that look like in practice? What kind of educational system could effectively prepare students for this future?
The source calls for a shift away from traditional models of rote learning and memorization toward approaches that cultivate critical thinking, problem-solving skills, creativity, and adaptability.
It's about teaching students how to think, not just what to think. It's about giving them the tools to navigate a world where information is constantly evolving and technology is advancing at an unprecedented pace.
Exactly. And the source also emphasizes the importance of incorporating ethical considerations into technological education.
This makes me think of the growing field of AI ethics. It's crucial that future generations of technologists are equipped to develop and deploy AI systems responsibly and ethically.
Absolutely. The source also advocates for more collaboration and interdisciplinary approaches to problem solving. It's about bringing together experts from diverse fields to tackle complex challenges that no single discipline can address on its own.
So, breaking down silos and fostering a more holistic approach to knowledge and innovation.
Precisely. And it's not just about formal education. The source stresses the importance of lifelong learning, recognizing that in a world of rapid technological change, the ability to adapt and acquire new skills throughout our lives is essential.
It's a shift from seeing education as a one-time event to a continuous process of growth and development.
Exactly. The source encourages individuals to embrace this mindset of continuous learning, seeking out opportunities to expand their knowledge and skills throughout their lives, and emphasizes the importance of cultivating a sense of curiosity, wonder, and a willingness to embrace new ideas.
It's about staying engaged, staying curious, and staying open to the possibilities that technology can unlock.
Precisely. The source reminds us that technology, for all its power and potential, is ultimately a tool.
So the question becomes, what do we want to use this tool for? What kind of future do we want to create with it?
That's the essential question. The source urges us to engage in thoughtful and informed discussions about the values and principles that should guide technological development.
It's about recognizing that technology is not neutral. It embodies the values of its creators and the societies in which it's developed.
Exactly. And the source encourages us to be intentional about the future we create with technology, ensuring that it aligns with our deepest human values and aspirations.
This makes me think about the importance of involving diverse voices and perspectives in conversations about the future of technology.
Absolutely. Ensuring that the development and deployment of technology reflects the needs and values of all members of society is crucial for creating a more equitable and just future.
It's about recognizing that technology can be a powerful force for good, but only if it's guided by wisdom, compassion, and a deep understanding of the human condition.
Precisely. Now, to help us navigate this complex terrain, the source dives into some specific insights and strategies for understanding human-technology interaction. One key concept is the distinction between cultural truth and mathematical truth.
Okay, I'm curious to learn more about this. What's the difference between those two types of truth?
The source explains that much of human understanding is shaped by cultural beliefs and assumptions which can vary widely across societies and historical periods.
It's like the lens through which we view the world is colored by the culture we're embedded in.
Exactly. And while these cultural truths can provide meaning and a sense of belonging, they're often based on subjective interpretations and traditions that may not align with a more objective understanding of reality.
So what's mathematical truth in this context? Is it all about equations and formulas?
Not necessarily. It's about seeking a more objective understanding of the world, grounded in evidence logic and the principles of science and mathematics.
So it's about looking beyond our culturally shaped beliefs to find a more fundamental truth based on reason and evidence.
Exactly. And the source argues that in a world increasingly shaped by technology, it's crucial to be able to distinguish between cultural beliefs and these more objective truths.
This makes me think about the importance of critical thinking and scientific literacy. In a world where we're bombarded with information from all sides, we need to be able to discern what's credible and what's not.
That's a great connection. The source encourages us to develop our critical thinking skills, to question our assumptions, and to be willing to revise our beliefs in light of new evidence.
It's about embracing a mindset of intellectual humility and a willingness to learn and grow throughout our lives.
Precisely. And this leads to another important point the source makes about the limitations of human perception and the biases that can distort our thinking.
We touched on this earlier with information asymmetry, but it seems like there's more to it.
Yes, the source delves into specific cognitive biases that can lead us astray. For example, confirmation bias, which is our tendency to seek out information that confirms our existing beliefs, even if those beliefs are inaccurate.
It's like we filter out information that challenges our worldview and gravitate towards information that reinforces it.
Exactly. And then there's the availability heuristic, which is our tendency to overestimate the likelihood of events that are easily recalled. For example, if we've recently seen a news report about a plane crash, we might overestimate the danger of flying, even though, statistically, it's a very safe mode of transportation.
So even when we're trying to be objective, our brains can play tricks on us. It seems like understanding these cognitive biases is crucial for making sound judgments in a world overflowing with information.
Absolutely. The source encourages us to be aware of these biases, to develop strategies for mitigating their influence, and to cultivate a healthy skepticism towards our own perceptions and judgments.
It's about recognizing that we're all susceptible to errors in thinking, but that by understanding these tendencies, we can become more discerning and make more informed choices.
Precisely. And this ties into the importance of cultivating intellectual curiosity and a willingness to consider different perspectives.
So it's not just about being critical of information, but also being open to new ideas and alternative viewpoints.
Exactly. The source encourages us to engage in respectful dialogue with those who hold different views, seeking to understand their perspectives and find common ground.
It's about moving beyond the echo chambers and polarization that often characterize online discourse and seeking to build bridges of understanding across ideological divides.
Precisely. And this requires cultivating empathy and compassion in our interactions with others, recognizing that everyone is navigating their own unique set of experiences and challenges.
It's a reminder that in a world that can feel increasingly divided and polarized, it's essential to foster a sense of shared humanity and a willingness to connect with others on a deeper level.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And the source material inspires us to approach these challenges with both wisdom and courage, recognizing that the path forward lies in embracing our shared humanity and working together to create a future that benefits all.
Mm.
It's a powerful reminder that, beneath all the differences and disagreements, we're all part of the same human family, right? Facing the same fundamental challenges and striving for those same basic needs.
It's about finding that common ground and recognizing our shared humanity, even in a world that often feels fragmented and divisive. Now, let's bring this back to that big question we started with. How is technology reshaping our definition of what it means to be human?
The source material really pushes us to think beyond the traditional boundaries of our physical bodies.
Yeah.
It explores the possibility of a future where human consciousness might not be limited to our biological forms.
Whoa, that's getting into some serious sci-fi territory. Are we talking about like uploading our minds into computers or becoming digital beings?
Well, the source doesn't get into specifics, but it does explore the potential for technology to fundamentally alter our understanding of consciousness and identity. Imagine a future where we could enhance our cognitive abilities, or merge our minds with AI, or even extend our lifespans indefinitely through technology.
It's both exhilarating and terrifying to contemplate those possibilities. It makes you wonder if we could fundamentally alter our human experience through technology. What would that mean for our sense of self, our values, our purpose?
The source acknowledges that these advancements raise profound ethical, philosophical, even spiritual questions. It doesn't offer easy answers, but it encourages us to engage in these discussions with open minds and a willingness to challenge our assumptions.
It's like we're on the verge of a new era of human evolution, but this time we have the power to consciously shape the direction of that evolution through our choices about technology.
That's a powerful way to put it. And the source reminds us that technology is not a magical solution to all our problems, right? It can't provide ultimate meaning or happiness. It's a tool that can be used for good or ill, depending on our intentions and actions.
So it's not just about technological advancement, but about moral and spiritual growth keeping pace. We need wisdom and compassion to guide our use of these powerful tools.
Precisely. And that brings us to kind of an interesting point the source makes about the relationship between technology and spirituality.
Okay, now this is where things get really intriguing. How does technology intersect with our understanding of the spiritual?
Well, the source suggests that technology can both challenge and deepen our spiritual beliefs. On the one hand, advancements in neuroscience and artificial intelligence might lead us to question traditional notions of the soul or consciousness.
Like, if we can create machines that exhibit intelligence or even consciousness, does that change our understanding of what it means to be human or to have a soul?
Those are profound questions, and the source doesn't pretend to have all the answers. But it also suggests that technology can provide new tools for exploring spiritual concepts and connecting with something larger than ourselves.
This makes you think about like virtual reality experiences that simulate spiritual practices or the use of technology to facilitate meditation or mindfulness.
Exactly. Technology can create immersive experiences that allow us to explore different spiritual traditions or to connect with others in new ways.
It's like technology can expand our spiritual horizons and offer new pathways for growth and connection. But I imagine there are also dangers in using technology for spiritual exploration.
Yeah, the source acknowledges this as well. It cautions against the potential for technology to be used to manipulate or distort our understanding of spirituality.
It's like anything else, right? Technology can be a powerful tool, but it's up to us to use it wisely and ethically.
Precisely. The source emphasizes that technology can't replace genuine spiritual experience, but it can offer new avenues for exploration and connection. Ultimately, it's about using technology in ways that support our spiritual growth and deepen our understanding of ourselves and the universe.
This deep dive has been incredible. We've covered so much ground from the evolution of human systems to the potential for technology to redefine what it means to be human. What stands out to you from all of this?
For me, it's this realization that we're at a pivotal moment in history, right? Technology is advancing at an unprecedented pace, and it's up to us to shape how these advancements are used. We have the power to create a future where technology enhances our lives, expands our understanding, and connects us more deeply with ourselves and the world around us. But it's also a future fraught with potential dangers if we're not careful.
That's a powerful takeaway. It's both inspiring and a bit daunting to realize the responsibility we hold in shaping this future.
It is. But I think the source material offers a message of hope. It reminds us that we're not passive bystanders in the face of technological change. We have agency. We have choices. By engaging in these conversations, by questioning assumptions, by being mindful of our values and intentions, we can collectively create a future where technology serves humanity and helps us realize our full potential.
That's a beautiful thought to leave us with. And for you listening, we hope this deep dive has sparked some new ideas and inspired you to think critically about the role of technology in your own life. As we move forward in this rapidly evolving world, the most important question we can ask ourselves is, how can I use technology to create a better future for myself and for generations to come? That's something worth pondering as we continue to explore the ever-evolving landscape of human-technology interaction.